Okay, so I'm Joe Consul. I'm a real estate attorney practicing in PA and New Jersey. My firm's called Consul Madison LLP. We have offices on Broad Street in Philly and at 3rd and Jackson in Media, PA. We're boutique. We got attorneys. We only do real estate and family law matters. I partnered with Madison, who was my friend from law school. He worked at a big firm for almost 10 years and then joined up with me. So we got a lot better when he joined up about a year and a half ago in terms of doing things with a lot of big attorney kind of firepower behind us and that kind of knowledge. But my goal tonight is to give you guys, as investors or developers or folks that are just looking to get into the industry, a primer on the concept of zoning in Pennsylvania, what it might mean to you as non-legal professionals, why you should care about it, and using Philadelphia, the city, as a model. I hope to give you at least an aerial view of how to become more knowledgeable on the topic. So if you do a ton of this stuff already, some of this might be old hat, in which case I apologize. If you're new to it and I gloss over anything that sounds like a huge important point, just raise your hand. I don't speak at a ton of stuff, so I kind of have an open format, so don't really hesitate to speak up or whatever. So first of all, what is zoning? When I got out of law school, I worked at what was called a municipal land use firm in New Jersey. They did basically the same thing that we're doing here in Philly, but they called it land use. Here we call it zoning. Basically, what can you build? Where can you build it? The Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, they call it the MPC. That's the legislation that was passed in Pennsylvania many eons ago that let cities and municipalities enact zoning ordinances. You don't need to have one, but when you do enact one, every single plot in your town or municipality or city or whatever has to have an area that is zoned. So there can't be anything unzoned in that area. The odds are you probably haven't come across any place around here that does not have a zoning ordinance. Suburban codes oftentimes kind of look the same as each other because they're all based off of the MPC. Philly is not so much, but I've yet to find an area near Philadelphia that has not enacted a code. And if anyone knows of any, that'd be fun trivia fact for me, probably just boring for everyone else. Let's see. Okay, so let's look at the code. The MPC says a zoning ordinance may permit, prohibit, regulate, restrict, and determine to the extent not superseded by certain state acts. Basically, what this is talking about is a city can make more restrictive laws than a state, and a state can make more restrictive laws than the federal government, but you can't go the other way. So like a good way to think about that is like legal weed. It's going the wrong way, so it's causing a lot of problems because it's more permissive than a federal law. So the zoning code takes what you're allowed to do federally and then obviously shrinks it down to cities and municipalities, which can be more restrictive than the state of, or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but not less. Because we're going to focus on Philly, and because I'm assuming that none of you guys are developing large swaths of industrial land in Bridesburg, if we look at this list of items from the code, important things to you guys that the zoning code probably is looking at: uses of land, size, height, location, erection, construction, repair, maintenance. Density is a big one. Intensity of use is another big one. How many people can you fit in a commercial area? How many residents are, how many units are allowed in a residential area? Those types of questions. A zoning ordinance permits things in a given zoning district as permitted uses as of right or a prohibited use. At its discretion, the city can classify certain uses as permitted by special exception or as conditional uses. I promise this will get more exciting after I lay the groundwork down. I have a little quiz coming up. So if you call something a special exception, the governing board allows that a certain use is permissible and legitimate and not against the public interest, but you still have to go in front of the zoning board. So like one of the packets I passed out has all of the zoning designations in Philly, and if you look at it, they actually give you all of the permitted uses and all of the special exception uses. And we'll look at that in a second, germane to RSA 5.